On this episode of On the Bridge, I'm chatting with Laura Beard from ISWAN. Welcome, Laura. Lovely to see you. For those who are unfamiliar with you and ISWAN, can you tell me a little bit about your role and also about ISWAN?
Yeah, so I am the Welfare of Yacht Crew Project Manager at ISWAN. I've been with ISWAN for about a year, but ISWAN in itself has existed for quite a long time. ISWAN, first of all, stands for the International Seafarers Welfare and Assistance Network.
Quite a mouthful.
Absolutely. It doesn't really roll off the tongue.
No.
So we go by ISWAN for short. ISWAN works generally on the well-being and the welfare of seafarers and their families as well. So ISWAN works to create and put and to make available resources to address the issues that seafarers face when living and working at sea and to support their families.
Wow, so really important and such relevant work in today's sort of climate.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And what was your career path, your current role in ISWAN? And what about crew welfare appealed to you?
Yeah, well, I've had quite a roundabout route to get here. So I started off, I've been working in and around yachts for about 15 years. And I started off shore-based. So I was working in ship yachts. I worked in refit management and I worked in construction a little bit as well. And then just sort of through a happy coming together of circumstances, I got offered a purser position on a yacht.
Right.
And it was just to fill a gap. I got offered a contract just to come on board, see if I liked it, with a captain that I'd known for a few years. And I was supposed to go for a few weeks, and I ended up staying on that boat for nearly 3 years.
Oh, wow.
And then I moved on
quite
to
a different journey, though, because often people start out as crew and then they come ashore. So that's so interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I did things the other way around to quite a lot of people. So, so after that, I went on to another boat, and I was on boats for a few years. And then on my last boat, I was on a full rotation. So I also studied part-time, and I did a master's in psychology, because that's something that I just always wanted to do. It's something that really interested me. And then I decided it was time to maybe grow up a little bit and look at coming back ashore. And I started to think, well, what on earth am I going to do with my life, kind of thing, and as a lot of people do when they come to leave the industry. And I started looking around for what sort of jobs were available. And I came across this advert for the position at ISWAN. And having been a purser, having had contact with a lot of welfare issues on board, been involved in a lot of welfare-related things, and having done my studies as well, I just saw this advert and I just thought, that's the job for me. I've got to get that job.
And it ticked all the boxes from your experience and the things that really you were interested in.
Exactly.
So right time, right place.
100%. Yeah.
Oh, so that was a year ago?
That was
just over a year ago?
Just under, yeah. So I started with ISWAN in January.
Oh, and so coming ashore then, that actually was not that long ago.
No, it was.
So how was the transition back into shore-based life?
Yeah, so it was Christmas last year, actually. And to be honest, I was very nervous about it, because when you're working on boats, you get very much into that kind of way of working, into that rhythm, especially as I was on a rotation. So when I was on board, I was working full-time, 7 days a week, giving it 100% like so many others in the industry, and then also had that time off. Yeah. And then transitioning into a shoreside role where I was going to be working, 5-6 days a week, having weekends, this thing that I'd never had, hadn't had for the last few years.
What a novelty.
I know. But also, having to do my own laundry, having to do my own shopping, all these kind of things. But actually, given that this role has been so diverse and so interesting, and that we are constantly in contact with industry, with crew as well, it turned out to be much smoother than I'd ever imagined. And I still feel like I'm very much in the yachting world.
Of course, yeah, because now you're connecting with people in a different way. But, that's really good.
Absolutely.
How has ISWAN's role evolved over the years as the needs of crew have changed? Because obviously at the moment, mental health and well-being is such a sort of hot topic. And what are the trends and concerns you're seeing in the work you're doing?
Yeah, so to understand that, perhaps I'll set it a little bit in context, because ISWAN's always worked for seafarers across the whole of the maritime industry. But around about 5 years ago, a piece of research was carried out, because ISWAN runs core welfare services, which include helplines. Yeah. And one of our helplines is called Seafarer Help, and it's for seafarers all across maritime. But it was identified that yacht crew weren't necessarily using Seafarer Help, and it was one of the populations that wasn't really reaching out for support. So
interesting.
So a piece of research was done around about 5 years ago with support from the industry to look into why yacht crew weren't reaching out for support so much, and whether there were any particular issues that were affecting yacht crew that were different to the rest of maritime. lots of interesting things came out of that piece of research. But one of the main findings was that one of the reasons why yacht crew weren't reaching out to Seafarer Help, to the helpline, was because many yacht crew don't actually identify themselves as seafarers. So something that was called Seafarer Help, they just thought it wasn't...
Yeah, they thought it was more commercial ships or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so from there was born the idea of setting up a separate helpline for yacht crew, and that's where Yacht Crew Help comes from. And so what we do on the Welfare of Yacht Crew project is Yacht Crew Help is a 100% confidential helpline. It's 24/7, it's multilingual, and it's multi-channel. So that means that people can contact us and speak their own language, but they can also, they don't have to pick up the phone and speak to us because, as we all know, on yachts, it's quite complicated sometimes to actually find somewhere to have a phone call. Yeah. And especially if it's about something a bit sensitive. You know, if you feel
somebody that you're working with on board,
absolutely. If you feel like you're going to have an emotional response as well, you know, you don't want to be there with your cabin mate lying in the bunk above you, sort of thing. So we also have WhatsApp, we also have email, and we have a live chat service via our website.
That's so interesting. I wouldn't even think about that actually even just having the helpline, then the challenges are that the crew have to find the time and space and to be able to actually talk to someone about it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So interesting.
Absolutely. So we find that with yacht crew, the majority of at least the initial contacts tend to be some kind of written contact, usually WhatsApp. And then what we can do is we can arrange a time for somebody from the helpline to call back when you are able to get ashore or to get, you know, find a little bit of space to have a private
But even if someone actually doesn't want to speak to someone in person, sometimes just sharing a problem via WhatsApp, like we will do with friends or family or partners, whatever. So actually having that ability to be able to just do that without having to pick up the phone actually is such a great idea.
Yeah, exactly. I think I personally find it easier to write things down as well. And I actually make a little bit more sense of my thoughts when I write them down. So it's quite a personal thing. And it's nice to be able to have those different options, really. But what we do on the Welfare of Yacht Crew project, again, just to stress that Yacht Crew Help is fully confidential. So crew don't have to tell us their name. They don't have to tell us the name of their boat. They don't even have to tell us where they are if they don't want to. I mean, you can, but you don't have to. But what we do is we look at the data from Yacht Crew Help and we identify trends in that data. So, for example, if within the space of a few weeks we suddenly see a big spike in people contacting us about stress, for example, then what we'll do is we will take that information, we'll go away and we'll work with industry stakeholders. And we will put together resources, educational programs, campaigns to address those issues that yacht crew are telling us that they're facing. So it's very, very important to us at ISWAN that everything we do is based on things that crew have told us.
Yeah, actual data.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not just us sort of sitting in a meeting room going, do you know what, today I think we ought to address this issue. No, we actually listen to the crew. They're very much at the centre of everything we do. Yeah. And then we go away and we find partners to work with to help us put together those resources for crew and to make them free as well.
Yeah, and that's also important. Yeah, because you want to take away any sort of walls that might stop people utilising the service.
Exactly.
So what projects are you currently managing and what impact have you seen it having so far?
Well, we've just come to the end of a really great project that I was really pleased to be involved in, which was our Yacht Crew Help awareness campaign. Yeah. So this all came about mostly through us attending industry events and going out and actually speaking to crew. So what I tend to do at the events is I have some Yacht Crew Help flyers and I walk around and I identify crew members and I go up to them and say, hi, this is Yacht Crew Help. Have you heard of us? Yeah. And there's kind of two different populations within Yacht Crew. There's a whole population that say, oh yeah, Yacht Crew Help, I know you guys, this is great, we've got the poster up in the crew mess, or, you know, my friend has used you, which is brilliant, and we love to hear that. There's also a whole other population, though, that when I hand them those details, they say, you know what, this is great, but I wish I'd known about this 6 months ago, you know, when this happened to me, or I wish I could have told my friend about this before she left yachting. Yeah. So we decided to put together a campaign to address that population. So essentially the goal of the campaign was to bring together, it was really a collaborative campaign across the whole yachting industry, where we put out a bit of a call to everybody and said, look, what kind of resources have you got? Have you got a mailing list? Have you got a podcast? Have you got a YouTube channel? And can we get on there and speak about Yacht Crew Help to get those details out in front of as many yacht crew as possible? So what is Yacht Crew Help? How can you contact it? What is it then? Yeah. So we ran that concerted campaign for about 6 weeks. And we recorded over that 6 weeks the data in terms of kind of clicks to our website and in terms of contacts to the helpline as well. And with all of that industry support and with everybody coming together, comparing the data to the same period last year, the number of contacts to Yacht Crew Help tripled.
Wow.
So
the awareness definitely is on the rise.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a funny thing to celebrate, to be honest, to be saying, yay, we've got more people contacting the helpline.
Sure.
But actually, because that was related to a real drive in awareness, a real promotion in terms of this service is there to support you, this is how to contact it, then we are taking that as a win.
Rather than celebrate that you've noticed there's more people that need help, it's perhaps prevalent to celebrate the fact that you're helping more people that didn't have help before. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the helplines then. So we've got Seafarer Help, Yacht Crew Help. What can someone expect when they reach out? Who are they for? How do they utilise them?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we mentioned before, we've got Seafarer Help, which is more for sort of the commercial cruise side of maritime. And then we've got Yacht Crew Help, which is for the yachting industry. So anybody working on a yacht can contact Yacht Crew Help, regardless of rank. It can be your first day, you can have been in the industry for 20 years. But it's not only for crew who are actively employed on a yacht. We also receive quite a lot of contacts from green crew, from crew who are looking for their first position ever in yachting. As we know, that's quite a scary and challenging place to be. We also have people who've left the industry who contact us. We have people who are on medical leave. We have people who are in between jobs. But we also receive contacts from families of yacht crew. And that is that's something that a lot of people don't realise, actually, that the service can offer support for families as well. And what we quite often get is, for example, somebody who's working on a boat, who's had a problem, something quite serious has happened, and they've reached out to their normal support network. So they've called their partner, they've called their mum, and then they've gone through that support, they've had a conversation, and then the family member hangs up and they're left at home thinking, well, what can I do? I can't do anything. So Yacht Crew Help is there.
And their loved ones far away, and they're concerned if they're vulnerable. Yeah, that's so true. Don't think about the families as well and the partners and things.
Yeah, exactly.
How important is collaboration with ISWAN? So obviously that you've got all the crew, but we're talking about management companies, heads of department, owners, reps, suppliers.
Yeah. I'm really glad that you asked that question, actually, because it really is something that is very important to us. Essentially, what we do at ISWAN, we wouldn't be able to do it without collaboration of the industry and without assistance from others. So we have quite a few different ways that we go about that. One of those is we have a steering group for the Welfare of Yacht Crew project that has been in place for quite some time. It was there before I joined ISWAN, but it's a group of, we have management companies there, we have recruiters, we have training providers, we have all kinds of professionals from all across the industry who help to guide us. We will go to that group, for example, and say, we're thinking about going to the Mets show this year. Do you think it's worth it? What could we do there? And they collaborate with us to guide us.
Like a think tank?
Exactly.
Exactly. That's a great idea.
Talking of think tanks, we're also in the process, it's one of the projects at ISWAN, is we're setting up a think tank under the Super Yacht Alliance at the moment, which is called Changing Tack. So Changing Tack is a group that's existed for a couple of years now. So far it's been in the form of a committee of welfare organisations from across maritime. So that includes the Seafarers charity, UKSA, Nautilus International, Chirp and ISWAN, who've all been working together to drive forward projects in the welfare space. And we're now, under the Super Yacht Alliance, we're currently growing that structure, and we're actually going to be inviting, and that's one of the things that we're here to do at Mets, is to invite industry partners to join us in Changing Tack and to help us to drive forward some concrete welfare projects. So we've identified a number of projects and a number of areas where we think that real change can be effected through collaboration. And that's a big thing that we're going to be working on this year.
Yeah, already you've got great partners there with Chirp and the UKSA. I mean, there's some powerful, influential organisations already who really have good reputations at being at the heart of actually caring about crew welfare and developants. That sounds great.
Yeah, and some amazing knowledge as well. I mean, I've learned so much from working with these people and the kind of experiences that they've had. It's just
well, coming also from very different directions, which is important, isn't it? Because then you're seeing the problem of crew mental health and welfare from different directions, which
Absolutely.
gives you sort of a fresh set of eyes, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. One of the things I would say, though, is that when I was working on boats, I did not have an awareness that there were this many people, this many organisations who were working away quietly in the background to improve things, who were gathering data, who were putting together initiatives. So again, that's something that we are really keen to address, is to make sure that crew are aware that people are there and people are doing things.
But I think also there's definitely a rise in awareness about well-being and mental health. 10, 15 years ago, I wouldn't, when I was in my 20s, I wouldn't have known what well-being was. We didn't talk about it. So now I think there's a generational shift in people actually understanding how important it is to look after yourself, eat well, look after your mental health, make sure you're checking in and doing all the things that keep you in a good place.
Exactly.
So I feel as if there's a raise of awareness of that in the actual crew. So then that's great then that the awareness is rising, that the organisation's about there, because then people can maybe recognise easier if they're not in a good place and say, but actually I can do something about it, rather than maybe, like you say, leave the industry, which would be a shame.
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot of things at play there, but I do agree that we're seeing a little bit of a snowball effect now where it is becoming much more acceptable, because as so many people know, in the super yacht industry, it's been quite taboo up until now to say I'm not okay, to say that I'm struggling, to say that I need some help. And I think that now we are seeing a cultural shift, which is absolutely brilliant. I think there is an element of it being generational. But I think there's also an element of it just becoming more acceptable and us being more open to it. And the further we take steps towards that, the more awareness is going to be raised of the support services that are.
And definitely from what we do, we speak to a lot of crew and heads of departments, captains, fleet captains, and I feel that there's a lot more conversation even from that level, that they're investing in the crew and they see that to replace a really good crew member because maybe they haven't been supported is costly, and it's a shame for them to leave the industry, leave the boat. So actually I feel that even heads of departments and fleet captains and captains are also, becoming more aware of it. It's probably a bit of a slow burner, but it feels like there's definitely a momentum behind it.
Yeah, I think we're chipping away.
Yeah, you're doing a great job, definitely. Okay, what about misconceptions within the industry about welfare that you wish people understood better? That you've maybe come across in the work you've done?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there's a couple that spring to mind kind of immediately. I think the first misconception that actually probably quite a lot of crew have is that they are alone, that there's no one out there to support them, that there's nowhere to turn, that you just sort of need to put up and shut up and get on with it kind of thing. That's not the case. There really are a number of organisations, a number of different support services outside of boats who are there to support crew. And I think that there is a real feeling in the industry that what happens on the boat stays on the boat, all of those kind of things. And I just don't think we need to feel that way anymore. I think that the support networks are there, the organisations are there, people like ISWAN, but also Chirp, also Safer Waves, who are working in sexual violence and sexual harassment. Those kind of organisations exist for crew, and I think crew need to know that that is a thing, that you can reach out and that you are not alone.
Yeah. Okay, so what about senior crew and owners and sort of owners' reps? What suggestions are there in a delicate way that we can talk about, that they can perhaps implement or look at implementing?
I would say there's two answers here that I would give. The first one being for senior crew who are on board. What we see on Yacht Crew Help is we do get quite a few captains and senior crew contacting us on the helpline, but those contacts tend to be around a senior crew member who is looking to support a member of their team.
Yeah, sure.
So somebody who, they have a crew member who has, they're going through the grief process. They've been bereaved for the first time in their life because, they're 21 years old, they're away from home, lost a grandparent, for example, and the head of department wants to help them through that process. So they contact Yacht Crew Help, and that's absolutely something that we can do. That's a great use of the service. However, what we're not seeing so much are heads of department and captains who are actually reaching out for help for themselves.
Sure.
And what we always do in those cases where a head of department has reached out to get advice to help another crew member is we will then follow up with the head of department. It's this kind of help the helper situation. And we'll say, well, this is great that you've reached out to us, but how are you doing? How are you finding it helping this crew member through this process? And in 99% of those cases where we reach out to the HOD or to the captain, they don't respond or they don't want to enter into that conversation of talking about support for themselves. So I think that HODs and captains and senior crew need to realise that Yacht Crew Help is there for them too, and that it's okay to reach out. Again, it's a confidential service and it's okay to have that conversation, even just at the end of a bit of a hard day. If you need to vent or if you need to talk through something.
Oh my goodness, I mean, managing people is the hardest job in the world. And then managing people in a confined space, away from home, you're all away from loved ones, you're all in a pressurized situation. There's such a responsibility on the captains and heads of departments. So it would make sense that they would definitely need support. But maybe, like you say, that's the next part of the awareness is making those sort of level of responsibility people aware that they also can lean on ISWAN and there's no shame in reaching out and saying, do you know what, I'm actually struggling with a little bit the responsibilities or what's happening. And also I think as a manager what happens is everyone comes to you, if you're a good manager, and they sort of lay their problems on your desk and they say, I've lost a loved one, or I've split up with my partner, or I'm away from home, I'm struggling. And then they talk to you about it and they leave. And often they feel lighter, which is fantastic. But then you're sort of left with all these other people's problems, and that can weigh heavy. So
Absolutely. And you feel such a responsibility as well for guiding people, for supporting them in the right way, and it can be exhausting. So when I did my one of my very, very first mental health courses, when I did my mental health first aid course, I remember that the instructor said, you can't pour from an empty cup. And that's something that really stuck with me, and I've repeated it many, many, many times ever since. But if you're the one that needs to be supporting, leading, guiding, mentoring others, you need to make sure that your cup is full, because otherwise you've got nothing to give.
So at least not empty.
Exactly.
I mean, it can't be full all the time, definitely, but at least it can, not be empty, and you have your own problems to deal with. So and you need to be, the supportive person for everybody else. And also, I think there's this idea in life that our job is to make other people happy, and for sure it isn't my job to make other people happy. It's my job to make myself happy. And I think sometimes when you're managing a big group of people, maybe definitely with different ages and different experience with being away from home, you have to sort of understand that you can only do so much, and then there's a level that actually maybe professional help needs to come in.
Absolutely. I mean, we even have that on the helpline. So within the helpline we have different levels of support, so we have our sort of frontline responders, if you like, who are those who are picking up the phone, who are answering the emails and so on, who are trained in a whole range of ways to support crew. So that can be from just those conversations about, I've had a bad day, I need some support. But that can go right up to people who contact the helpline with suicidal ideation or with some serious symptoms that might be related to, an accident, like an onboard and so on. So our team are trained to deal with that whole range of contacts that come in. But then we have a secondary level of support, which is more in terms of those who need structured support and may need ongoing support. Because one of the things a lot of people don't realise about Yacht Crew Help is that it's not necessarily just something where you're going to pick up the phone, have one conversation, and that's it. We always follow up the crew. Sometimes that can lead to contact that will continue for months if that's what the crew member needs and if that's what's appropriate. I'm quite mindful that I only answered part of your question just then. So,
I know, we could talk for hours about this.
But I wanted to address your question about management and managers and owners' reps and so on. I think that a lot of people are quite scared of working in the welfare space or even setting foot into the welfare space because people are often very nervous of doing the wrong thing, saying the wrong thing, and it can be quite a scary place to be. So first of all, I would say that we've already said for crew to remember that there are welfare organisations out there that can support you, but those organisations can also be there to guide management companies, to support owners' representatives and so on. But I would also say that we take a very holistic approach to welfare at ISWAN. So a lot of people think that we are a mental health charity, and we partially are. But we also address a whole range of other issues that are affecting crew. One of the most popular, it's not the right word to use, but one of the most common contacts to Yacht Crew Help is actually around contractual questions and questions about hours of rest and questions about MLC and those kind of things. So the reason why I mention that is because I think a lot of people don't necessarily have the reflex to think that welfare isn't just mental health. It's a whole range of things. And actually by addressing, for example, training on board, by providing the possibility for professional development or recognising that there are skills that yacht crew might want to develop beyond just, your basic SDCW or what you need to get the next ticket up. Also, that just addressing something like that, which is something which is very accessible for management companies, for owners, reps, that in itself can actually have quite an impact on crew's welfare and
education, so that they can be responsible for their own career, in the sense, looking at contracts and understanding 100%. How that will affect them and what to do if they're in a not such a great situation. So the education side of it is so important too.
I once had a yacht manager who said to me that his approach to yachting was to train crew up and watch them fly. I just thought that's brilliant. And I mean, that's something that is quite, I want to say easy to put in place. It's not as easy as that, but it's something that is very possible and within the reach of managers and management companies, and really does make a big difference to crew and how valued they feel, and therefore how happy they are in
giving them the tools so that they can do their job well. No, sure, that's something that sounds very simple, probably not as simple as it sounds, but what a great sort of attitude to have, though, that person wants to be helping people, kitting them out with tools, etc., so that they can have a successful and healthy career. Okay, so what about digital connection? How have you seen sort of the rise of social media affect welfare at sea? And are there initiatives or technologies that you see or use that could help improve crew welfare?
In terms of technology, I think where it really, really helps us at ISWAN is in terms of raising awareness. Because yacht crew are very connected. We see in other areas of maritime, one of the issues that comes up quite a lot is lack of internet connection, lack of being able to look up things yourself. So we get quite a lot of contacts to Seafarer Help asking for practical information. I'm looking for a medical centre in my next port. Can you help me find it? And so on. We don't get those contacts so much from yacht crew.
Right. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think yacht crew are quite independent in terms of being able to look stuff up online, to go on Google, to go on social media, and so on. And so that connectivity means that we do have a way of reaching yacht crew in terms of raising awareness, in terms of getting the Yacht Crew Help details out there, getting them in front of crew. However, I think that social media has had quite a negative impact in yachting as well, because quite a lot of social media accounts do promote this image of yachting, that it's all shiny and wonderful, and that yacht crew are just having the best time, and that they're all in the jacuzzi with a magnum of champagne and so on. This kind of below deck image, when actually in reality that's not the case. And that social media presentation is actually quite harmful for those who are trying to work in the welfare sphere, because that means that quite a lot of people who are not on board themselves have this perception of the industry that being yacht crew is a great, shiny, wonderful place to work, and why do we need to support yacht crew? So we quite often hear that comment, although I would say perhaps less and less nowadays, but especially when we're looking for funding for our projects, because actually, obviously we would love to be able to do all these things without money, but we do spend quite a lot of time fundraising, of course, to keep our projects going. And every so often we are met with that reaction, well, why do we need to help yacht crew? They earn good money, they're all having a great time, they get to, get to go and visit the Bahamas and these amazing locations. But in reality, that's not the case.
I mean, everyone's experience varies so massively between vessels as well. You can get someone that you would ask that question to and they'd say, I had a wonderful career, I had a supportive owner, brilliant heads of department, they invested in me, they put me through training, I felt valued, I had good time off, etc. And then you can get someone who really has the complete opposite experience. And so everyone needs support on different levels, don't they? So like you say, from the outside, having that sort of blanket opinion of how great it is for everyone is just a load of old rubbish, really. But yeah. Social media is wonderful, but it also has its sort of downsides, does it? I do feel now with social media that people are that idea of basically your Instagram being a highlight reel of how wonderful. Look at me, I'm doing this. Look at me, I'm great at this. I sort of feel that's full circle now. I feel like now a lot of people, especially who I follow or through LinkedIn, people are sharing the more honest opinions of things, which sometimes can sound a bit negative, but also at the same time, how great that they are sharing really the downsides and the upsides. Because there isn't a job in the world that someone goes into every single day and says, oh, this is the best. Every job has downsides. Every job has stressful moments. So actually, crew sharing that the boss is on, we're working crazy hours, but the boss is great. We're having, a good time with him. He leaves and then we get downtime. How great. But not just sharing the glamorous, or all we do is party, because that's not the case at all on any boat, is it?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think that was a very interesting point that you were making just there about how, there's you don't have a good day every single day.
No.
And the thought that
in life, in general.
Absolutely. But the thought that popped into my head there as well was that just because it's a good day for one person on the boat doesn't mean that it's a good day for everybody as well. So you can have somebody who's having the best day of their life and somebody who's really not having a great day, and they're working together in the same crew. So that was just one thing that came.
Yeah, no, sure. And actually the education part then comes in, because helping crew to understand, to support their colleagues or their employees on if they're not having a good day, how can they support them? You can't necessarily change their day. Like I said, it's not their job to make you happy, but to know how to be like, that person's having a rough time, he's missing home, she's missing home, partner's split up or whatever it is. And just being able to be there for them is another part of being a good person, being a good employee, being a good colleague, isn't it? So the education part is so important. Okay, and what's next for ISWAN? Have you got any upcoming projects or projects that you're sort of in the midst of? I know we spoke earlier about the sort of awareness of Yacht Crew Help. So what's going on at ISWAN in the near future?
Well, we've got lots and lots of things going on, to be honest. We've got lots of things that are in the sort of preparation stage that we're at the moment seeking funding for.
Right.
So one of those, for example, is that Green Crew resource that I was just talking about. We're now moving towards a phase 2 of that to develop that resource even further and increase awareness of that one a little bit more. We'll be running the Yacht Crew Help awareness campaign again next year.
Right.
We're working with the Changing Tack group as well to build up that new structure and to start building up. We're going to have sort of focus groups within that structure, working on different projects together. We've got all sorts of things.
So very
in the
busy.
Pipeline. Yeah, absolutely. It's an exciting time, to be honest, to be at ISWAN, and we're really seeing a lot of momentum in the industry, a lot of interest, a lot of people coming to us with ideas as well. So
that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's going to be busy. It's going to be a busy 12 months, I think, for ISWAN, but in a very positive way and in a way that is going to be impactful as well.
And like you say, I mean, it sounds sort of slightly morbid to be celebrating, but actually the busier you are, the more people you're helping that maybe wouldn't reach out for help before. And all the new projects just sound like they're going to help even more people and support people, hopefully, to have healthy careers and stay in the industry as long as they want to, which is a win-win, really.
Exactly. I mean, that's our goal. It's a bit of a funny situation to be in, because actually on the Welfare of Yacht Crew project, essentially what we're trying to do by addressing those problems at source, we're almost trying to put Yacht Crew Help out of business, because we're trying to make it so that we don't reach the point.
That would be the dream, wouldn't it? That no one needed the helpline.
Exactly. I mean, a good day for Yacht Crew Help is the day where no one needs us.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we're here to listen without judgment, regardless of rank. And as I said, it's multilingual, multi-channel, 24/7, 100% confidential helpline.
Brilliant. Okay, we'll add in the details for this episode, then we'll add in all the website and the number and everything. Yeah, and obviously you're on LinkedIn, on Instagram. So there's lots of different ways people can contact.
Absolutely.
Brilliant, thank you. And well done for all your hard work. I love hearing about, helping people and the good work that you're doing. And thank you for joining us so early in a very noisy Mets train.
No, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Have a great show.